Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone that can hear the sound of my voice to this week's edition of the Scotchable Podcast. No, not Scotchable, Petty and Ill-Informed Podcast. Can anyone hear me in the chat? Just to make sure everything's working all right. Sound off. If you can't hear me, there might not be any sound. I think the sound. It's just me tonight, so I can't ask any of my co-hosts about the lack of about my sound, which is annoying. Yeah, it's just me tonight. Nobody else is here. Very annoying. I've got 3 co-hosts. None of them showed up. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Gabby. All right. So it's been a pretty uneventful week. There's not going to be a show next week. I should be away. Fingers crossed. Of course, something could go wrong and I might not be away, but hopefully, as it stands, I'm going to be away next week, so there won't be a show. Talk about, I don't know, Brent doesn't answer his emails and my messages anymore. It's probably because I walked away from the whole Bigfoot community, to be fair, Alan. I mean, I'm not really involved in that stuff anymore. Just got, bored of it. It's like the same stuff over and over again. And just the videos, they seem to get worse. You know? Absolutely worse. Like, the hoaxes were terrible. And just samey. And, the people doing the hoaxes, they're just idiots. I mean, I won't say this for Matthew Johnson and Todd Standing and Rick Dyer, but they had, showmanship. They put effort in. Todd Standing literally, got himself on the telly by running away from rescue teams, allegedly. Can't prove that, but come on. But he got himself on the telly, and, Rick Dyer, we all know what Rick Dyer did, and Matthew Johnson, he's a bellend and a wannabe cult leader, but he had a lot of showmanship about his stuff. But these new people, they just post dumb video after dumb video of nothing. And it's easily disprovable and just why bother? So I gave up on the whole Bigfoot community and walked away from it all. I'm not really involved or on Facebook anymore. Stephen is homeless and Dr. J is an ordained minister. Well, Stephen Stroyford is homeless. And Dr. J is an ordained minister. Well, yeah, I mean, that was only a matter of time. Gabby had a pretty terrible week. She totaled her car. Well, somebody drove into her car. His shop burned down. That sucks. Poor Stephen. I hope he's okay. That's terrible. He's all right though. It's just his shop just burned. So you just missed this stuff. Well, was it on purpose or was it an accident? Well, whatever. So yeah, Gabby's had a horrible week. My week's been all right, like I said. Not a lot's happened for Richard. Pretty boring. Put on a bit of weight. A little bit annoyed about that, but I'll lose it probably in the winter because I'll be hard dieting. It's just pigged out on ice cream over the summer. That's what happened there. Accident. Oh, poor guy. Well, positive thoughts and love for Stephen. That sucks. That is terrible. Any other Bigfoot news, or is that it? Because I don't pay attention, as I said, anymore. I mean, it's strange because it used to be such a big part of my life with the blog and everything that I used to do, the cartoon series, and my blog was way better than my cartoons. I just liked doing the cartoons. They were fun. And then I ran out of ideas and I had to stop, which kind of sucks. But that's the way she goes, isn't it? I'll probably eventually stop doing this podcast, one day. I mean, I still enjoy it at the moment. It's not like I'm trying to get YouTube famous or anything. I just do it because it's fun. Fun thing to do on a Saturday night for a middle-aged man. God, when I was a kid, Saturday nights were for drinking. And it was just for chilling out on the internet and recording a podcast. We've got 30 loyal listeners. Love to hear from you. Nobody commented on whether they hated or liked the gameplay footage last week, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it. Even Gabby didn't say anything, which is unusual. But, So, yeah, we've got gameplay footage this week. It's Maneater. Don't know what I'll use next week. The whole Dead by Daylight thing distracted me and Tom last week, so I'm not doing that one again. I was just looking at all my mistakes, and Tom just kept asking questions. But I suppose if he was here, he'd be asking questions about this gameplay footage as well. But, yeah, Gabby's been busy. Gabby's going to Colombia. It's the only place on Earth she can get a car, apparently. Doesn't make any sense to me, but, whatever. Probably going to be a short one tonight without Kevin or Tom to drag it out. I hate to say drag it out. That's mean, but they do like to talk. Get to the point. So, yeah. Gabby's off to Colombia. My week's been dull. And, all right, Gabby, tell us in the chat about your car. And we'll talk about it. My mate wanted me to start a Twitch account, and I was like, oh, God, no. Streaming's like the one career in the world I don't want to do. It's not easy. And anyone that thinks it's an easy job is a fool. You've got to do all your own, marketing, your own market research. And if you lose, and you've got to follow trends, and you can't really have an opinion while at the same time having opinion on everything. It's very hard streaming, and my hat's off to them lads that can do it. A classic car in decent shape. You're going to have to go to Colombia and get another one. 60 miles a gallon. That is good. That is good mileage. Not even going to lie. But yeah, not a lot else going on. I mean, usually there's a counting on Tom really this week because I didn't have anything to talk about, but he messaged me with plenty of time like he always does, which is 10 minutes before the show generally. And that alone, yeah. No, 60 miles a gallon, that is a car that you want, definitely. I wonder, so yeah, go to Colombia and get a new one, Gabby. That's my advice. I had a look, just for old time's sake, for the 40-inch slip the other day, but apparently it's not around anymore. I guess Chris finally stopped, which is a shame because, I did enjoy that when it was around. Hybrids. Yeah, I don't understand. Like electric cars. All right, there's something to talk about. Why do people think electric cars are better for the environment when 90% of our electricity still comes from fossil fuels? Not to mention the nickel in the batteries of electric cars. The nickel mines cause untold damage to the environment. But I mean, that's just the same for everything, I guess. Like avocados aren't vegan because avocado farms again do so much damage to the environment. And it's ridiculous, how much wrong you can do while trying to do the right thing. Like, you can't buy T-shirts because you're supporting child slavery, because 90% of our T-shirts are made in child labor sweatshops these days, which, terrible, terrible world we've created. But it's also filled with good stuff. I guess I'm just getting a bit melancholy right now. There's good stuff in it going on all the day. You hear little miracles, little things that put a smile on your face, like cats getting rescued and this and that and the other. And you got to go sometimes, it's not all bad. It's mostly bad, but it's not all bad. And yeah. Really don't know what else to say this week. This is the game Maneater. It's a game where you play a shark, and the idea is just to grow up to the maximum size. You have to be independently wealthy to not support slavery. That's a fair point, Gabby. Very fair point, Gabby. Yeah. So, yeah, not going to be on for much longer, I don't think. There's just nothing to talk about this week. And as I said, we're not back next week. Let's see what's going on in the news. Driving laws to be introduced in October. Okay. I've been saying this for years that we need to regulate the roads better. I reckon what we do is make it so people have to have a license, a test, a refresher test every 2 or 3 years. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you get your license and that's it, because there are not a lot of, a lot of people just, they do what they need to do to pass their test, and then they never, ever follow those rules again. It's, people don't indicate on roundabouts, people park on the pavement. It's very rare that I see anyone that follow proper procedure for a roundabout, and I'm including myself in that. It's like, if there's no other cars around, I don't see what's wrong with hogging the outside lane, even if it's on the right-hand side, well, left-hand side for you Americans, I guess. You go around roundabouts the wrong way, don't you? Or the right way. Schnaff. See what I did there? You drive on the right side of the road. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, they've also banning the sale of new petrol and diesel vehicles to 2035. So 2035, we won't be allowed to buy diesel or petrol cars anymore. We'll have to get electric cars. Yeah, but the rules are different in America, aren't they? You just have to take a written test and then log a certain amount of driving hours. In some states, I don't know if that's true for your state. In England, you have to take a written test and a practical test. I'm not touching that one, Gabby. What else is going on in the news? Nothing else interesting. Oh, it really has been a boring week, hasn't it? I need backup co-hosts. That's what I need to do. I need to have backup co-hosts for when everybody else can't make it. I can always just call someone, because this is ridiculous. I don't have the talent to carry a podcast by myself. You can get your driving permit at aged 14. Yeah, you get that problem in England too. Well, I didn't know if you were going to be around. Yeah, thank you, SoFlo. I am going to. Well, I don't know. It might not happen. It's going to be next week. If it does happen, I won't be here next Saturday. If it doesn't, I will. And yeah, all I can do. Yeah, I think we're just going to wrap it up there, because otherwise I'm just going to be repeating myself for half an hour. Next week, No, it's not that, Gabby. It's something else. I'm just going to be AFK, away from my computer, for a week. And, yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, as I said, it may not happen. Thank you, Gabby. Yep. Being AFK sounds fun for a week. But yeah, I don't think we're going to drag this out much longer because I don't know. I was really hoping to have other people to talk to. It's better with Kevin and Tom. They're really good at finding stuff to talk about. I'm not a big talker myself, and most of my friends are big talkers for that reason. So I can just sit there and go, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they just enjoy talking because I never know what to talk about. So yeah, that'll wrap us up for this week. I will return in 2 weeks, despite the hopes of many. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from no one else. Good night, everyone.